interviewing. You know, that's what they doing. Stick around. It's about to get all roomy up in here. Remote Ruby starts now.
Chris Oliver.
Andrew Mason.
2 weeks ago, I had no idea that Rails 8 came out, which was some memory slippage on my part, but we are now on Rails 8, so.
Hey, that's a win.
Yep.
That was
Not
fast.
because of me, though. Yeah, it was fast. It was definitely big part to Drew and my other coworker Mario and other people who pitched in, but yeah, they got it banged out pretty quickly.
That's good. I would say, I don't know, since Rails 7, all the upgrades are pretty darn smooth. I feel like there's like not a lot of backwards incompatible changes like there used to be. Things are pretty solid. And it's one thing if you want to include the like, oh, replace your front end with Hotwire and import maps or something. You don't have to switch to the new defaults, but the actual like Rails core upgrade stuff is really, really smooth compared to 3 and 4 and 5, maybe. I don't remember what was all in 5.
I was just working on the config update to raise on open redirects.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Do you
we
have a lot of those?
Well, I mean, we have like multiple parts of our app, right? So, yes.
Yeah. Your app too runs on other people's domains, which is got to be tricky there because it's like, well, yes, we do need to redirect you to, it's an approved domain, but like it's not random.
Yeah. I haven't merged it yet because it makes me really nervous because I wish there was a way
until Friday
to
at 5 p.m.
Yeah. I wish there was a way to like raise internally and then still do the redirect, but just like, raise like a Honeybadger alert or something.
Probably could. Like you could put that code in with a begin rescue or whatever. Then when you rescue, you could use the old redirect. Or no, let's see.
You can rescue
something or other.
I couldn't think of a way to like push.
Right, it's like built in now. On a related note, I don't remember what day it was, but just the other day, one of the commits that got into Rails main was, it's basically a configuration option. Looks like you will now have config action controller allowed redirect hosts as an array. What's really cool about this too is like you can set that globally, but you can also set it to a specific controller too. So only this controller can redirect to Stripe. No other controllers could redirect. I thought that was a smooth configuration option to add there because, yeah, I've just went around and set like allow other hosts is true wherever it's needed, but it's like it doesn't even verify that host. It could be anything. And like in this case, like I'm creating the URL from the Stripe API. So like whatever Stripe gives me back is whatever I want to use. But I thought that was nice. It'll be another, I don't know, 28 days till Rails World. So maybe in 28 days, you can upgrade to Rails Next and then use that new feature.
I need to get my flights. Holy crap. This year is going way too fast.
Seriously, it's going crazy fast. Yeah, I got to keep working. I've got a bunch of my slides done now, but I got to keep working on that. So our neighbor was they've been having a pool put in for like a year now. I'm pretty sure they started last fall and they like ran into like giant rocks underneath, maybe 3 or 4 feet underground, just like brought in a massive excavator and like chiseling out rock and whatever. But yesterday afternoon, I just had lunch and then Brooke comes to me and it's like, is the internet down? I'm like, uh-oh. Last time our internet went out, the other neighbors across the street were putting their driveway in and just like ripped through the fiber line. And so yesterday, apparently the same thing happened. So then like Jackson got home from school and was like, I want to watch TV. And we're like, about that. he was totally fine after you got him past that, but it was like, yeah, dude, I don't know what to do with my life. You don't know what to do with your life. I can't
We're all
browse
the
Twitter. Like, yeah. So it was
back to the dark
mess.
ages.
The thing with the ISPs is like they always have these contractors that actually run the lines. And that same thing happened. I guess they had contractors out and they do like the trenching and everything. Well, whatever happened, they normally have like 2 or 3 feet of extra line in the loop. The guy today comes back and he's like, they left me like 2 inches of fiber. And he's like, so I had to go underground and put a box in and splice it down there so I could have enough room to like run it. And I was like, good Lord. Because otherwise we were going to wait like probably a week or something for them to retrench and, you know, rerun an entirely new line or something. It's fiber. So they got to have that whatever fancy equipment that they join the fiber lines with. It's pretty, I forget. The guy told me the box that he was using was like $10,000 or $20,000 to splice fiber lines. Yeah.
So
Crazy.
the people that cut through that, they just, oops, is that just an oopsie? And you get a no fine, no problem?
It was like the actual ISP's contractor, their own people that apparently destroyed it and didn't pay attention because the guy was like, it looks like a gorilla ripped through, you know, the wiring and stuff in here. And I was like, oh boy. So internet is back, thankfully, but my goodness.
Yeah.
At least we don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. You're not going to the data center and replacing a hard drive. That kind of stuff would suck.
True. Yesterday evening, when you told me that, I was busy trying to find a replacement for you today, though, if you couldn't show up.
Paul can do AI version of me.
That's true.
Oh, I don't know what else is new. I was playing with the Tailwind Elements stuff a little bit. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. What is it?
So Tailwind, you know, is like just a CSS framework. But if you buy Tailwind Plus for their components and everything, there's like drop downs and tabs and whatever. And it originally was like the examples were in Alpine, but then we don't use Alpine, or it's not easy to use Alpine plus whatever. And then they built headless UI to basically build those components for React, maybe Vue, whatever. But if you don't use that, you had no option. And if you were just, you know, a vanilla JavaScript user, you had to go build it all from scratch. So now as part of Tailwind Plus, there is this JavaScript library called Elements that has dialogues, autocomplete, tabs. I forget, there's like 8 or 10 different components, but they're awesome. They're all just web components. You drop in the JavaScript library, it installs whatever polyfills are needed as well. So you get all of that. My favorite thing, have you heard of the Invokers API in JavaScript?
No, I have not.
Check this out. So, you know, if you like want to use the modal element, you have to grab the element and then call show modal on it. This is sweet. You can now have a button that you have command for and command as attributes. Command for is the ID of the modal, like the dialog element in the browser. And then command, you do show modal, so show hyphen modal, and it will actually call that JavaScript method on the dialog for you when you click the button. And you don't have to write a single line of JavaScript. It's awesome. As far as I can tell, there's just dialog and like popovers right now that are the only ones that are built into the browser. But there's a polyfill for that to make sure it works in all the browsers. But then you can also do your own custom commands. So that when you click a button and go to your own element, you can have -- whatever your command is, and then an event will be fired with event.command that you can read that and say like, oh, you wanted to scroll the carousel or something. So it's kind of a way to do that all pretty much without writing any custom JavaScript for those event listeners for like click of a button or something, which is sweet. So I saw Wes Boss post about that on Twitter a couple weeks ago or whatever. And I was like, what is this? And then it was really cool to see Elements come out and like use that. And I think maybe Wes had posted about it looking at elements or something too. But yeah, I was like, this is nice. The more stuff like that, the more it kind of feels like you're using Alpine, where everything is just kind of in your HTML and you don't have to write a little. Literally, your dialogue controller and stimulus half the time is just like, we have an open method and it just calls dialogue.showModal. And it's like, this feels useless to have to write a stimulus controller for this. And it is, at least now, which is cool. So
That is
pretty
cool.
stoked.
Imagine the last time you had to deal with request timeouts or backed up job queues in your prod environment. Frustrating, right? Here's what that means. You're either not autoscaling or your autoscaler is not doing its job, because autoscaling is supposed to prevent scenarios like this. That's why we built JudoScale. JudoScale is the autoscaler that works for Heroku, Render, Fly, and AWS. With JudoScale, you'll smoothly handle traffic spikes while dramatically lowering your hosting costs. Do you want a rock-solid production environment? Visit judoscale.com/remote-ruby to learn more.
Your video on modals, doing like modals with Turbo in the Learn Hotwire course is really cool too. I didn't realize how far some of that stuff has come in HTML.
Yeah, that's a really good thing too that I should probably add to that Learn Hotwire course, because I can't remember. I know we did some cool stuff there, but I'm pretty sure we still had like a button that triggered the modal. The one downside, of course, is you have to have the polyfill. So it's like a trade-off there. It's like the polyfill is not that big of a deal, but it's kind of annoying that you still need that just for compatibility.
It's still
the same
one more thing
as,
you have to have in your app.
Yeah. It's the same thing as like the other day I was writing a gem and I had like a very simple block and I wanted to use the new it syntax because I didn't care about the name of the block argument. And I was like, it would be perfect here, but I can't use it because it really like need this library to work with Ruby 3.0 and up or something. I don't really want to have to restrict you to like Ruby 3.4. Was it 3.4 or 3.3 that I came out in? 3.4, I feel like.
Maybe 3.4.
Here we go. Yeah, in Ruby, particularly as a version 3.4, it serves as shorthand. But the AI search result could be hallucinating, so no, it looks like it's 3.4.
That makes sense. I mean, 3.4 has been out for a bit now.
Yeah, Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Every Christmas. It's really been nice to see, too, that like the Ruby team has been doing their schedule of like whatever every 3 months they publish a bug fix release or security release or whatever, and just have a cadence to it. I know Rails was aiming for that too, but I think that's pretty hard to do in Rails. So Ruby probably isn't changing near as much as Rails is, I would imagine. But yeah, the regular cadence of bug fix releases is pretty nice to have, because like even 6 months would be nice for Rails to get the test helpers for the authentication generator that got added. Like that would be nice to have, but we should be getting a new Rails release here in 28 days, I would guess.
That would be fun. Then I can know what version of Rails is up to date.
Ahead of time instead of almost a year late.
Yeah.
I'll keep you on your toes.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, right? Hey, ever since that episode, I'm on the latest version of Bundler, and now we're on the new version of Rails. Like,
oh yeah, yeah. I've been happy with the new version of Bundler. It's been going smoothly. I haven't run into a single issue with it.
I have.
Uh-oh.
I can't even definitively prove that the Bundler upgrade was the cause of some of these issues, but I think the first thing that we saw a lot of is that previously we were using Diffend, which was like a security auditor thing for your gems. Now I think that's kind of built into Ruby gems. So like there was like a Bundler plugin for it, and we removed it a while ago, but some people still had it installed. And so a lot of people, when they upgraded to the new version of Bundler, were like, there was a massive, massive error stack. And at the very, very top of it, it was like Diffend. It was coming out at Diffend, whatever this error was. So uninstalling the plugin, and then, well, I mean, we didn't need to reinstall it, but uninstalling that plugin fixed that. But we had probably 4 or 5 people run into that at minimum. The other thing that I've seen lately is that some commands now have like an increased amount of like output. So like when you're running maintenance tasks, Shopify has a maintenance task gem. When you're running maintenance tasks with bundle exec, and then some tests, I think only the tests that use like the action controller, they have just a massive amount of like output errors or warnings. The test ones are related to net HTTP. I looked, I can't find any reason or rhyme for it. But some people on the team are a little frustrated with me right now.
Yeah.
It's like, I used to run this command and it just works. And now when I run this command, I get like this massive output of like warnings. And
yeah, those tools may not be whatever. Like they may be integrated with Bundler a little more deeply. And some of those situations definitely are trickier to upgrade because you got to make sure those libraries have been upgraded and tested as well. That's kind of where you want to just like keep working on your stuff. But if you depend on something and you go try the new thing, then you got to like go make a PR for that library to fix it. And you go down the rabbit hole a little bit. And it's like, this isn't getting my work done. So I can't really spend a lot of time fixing that. Maybe I'll just live with the warnings for now and somebody else will fix it. But yeah, that tends to be a little frustrating sometimes. Luckily, ours, I think, is all good. I don't think I've seen anything like that. The only thing we have is like Rails ships with bundler audit now out of the box. And like we have that, but not diff-end.
I think diff-end is like integrated into Ruby gems itself now, or some version of it basically. Because I can't remember the exact specifics of it, but it was mostly about those like supply chain attacks.
Yeah. Okay.
And preventing like those gems that you accidentally misspell from like being
reals.
Used. Yeah, exactly. Things like that. Those squatting attacks and those supply chain attacks. Like I said, I think that got integrated directly into Ruby gems. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I remember something like that. It's hard to keep up with it all.
Yeah, especially when you don't know what version of Rails is out.
That's really hard then.
It's possible that the branch that I'm on, I was like, I cannot be bothered to like rebase this off main. Like they merged the Rails 8 yesterday. And so it's possible now that some of those have been resolved just through like dependency updates and the Rails upgrades. But I mean, we keep pretty on top of our dependency updates. So don't know. It's hard to be like, this is a bundler issue because it's like, well, it's not. It's like coming out of net HTTP or something else. I feel like the bundler update just exposed it. So
sure.
I don't know.
Sometimes those things can be pretty hard to track down and it's not worth your time. Like you got more important stuff to do and it'll probably be resolved at whatever point. Unless I'm going to throw the Braintree gem under the bus. The warnings, because I think it's one of those like auto-generated code bases. But my goodness, the amount of warnings we have from like running pay and CI, from Braintree defining instance variables without a default or like without a value and redefining constants or whatever it is. Like there's just warning after warning after warning there. And I'm like, you know, whatever code generation thing you've got for this, it's doing a bad job. It's not writing Ruby the way Ruby is intended to be written. It's taking some API spec and like making it kind of match the like maybe Python way of doing things or Java or whatever. It's like clearly someone wrote that tool, got the job done, but didn't do a proper clean code base with it.
They vibe too hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it drives me nuts. Because anytime I like read the CI for pay here, it is usually like, oh, we're down to, maybe they resolved some of that finally. We're down to some detected duplicate key in JSON object. This will raise an error in JSON 3.0 unless enabled allow duplicate key. Let me tell you a quick story about our sponsor, Honeybadger.io. One time, a customer of theirs had a background job run overnight that caused hundreds of thousands of errors to be reported to Honeybadger by mistake. Like many other error tracking and performance monitoring tools, Honeybadger bills for monthly usage, and so this customer's mistake was going to cost them a lot of extra money that month. If you've ever used a monitoring service, you might have experienced something like this yourself. Well, fortunately for this customer, they emailed Honeybadger's support and received the most amazing reply. Honeybadger was resetting their monthly quota and canceling the bill. This is just one example of how much the small team at Honeybadger cares about their users. Ask anyone you know and you'll hear similar stories. Go check them out at honeybadger.io. It's free to get started and setup takes less than 5 minutes. Don't forget to bookmark it. That's www.honeybadger.io. Did you see Byroot JSON blog post from the other day? Byroot had written about some breaking changes that I think he's going to try to release in a future version of the JSON gem, because it's like all these inconsistent things and deprecated sort of API interfaces for the JSON gem that just don't really make sense. You know, like there's JSON.load and JSON.parse. And it's like, well, which one are you supposed to use? You're probably going to use load because it just matches kind of what you would see YAML.load or something too.
I weirdly reach for the other one first. I always do YAML.load, but for some reason it's like JSON.parse just like matches like my brain mapping of it.
I think maybe I'm thinking of like, you know, the active record stuff where it's like load and dump or whatever, kind of like the two terms. And so it's like, that's a good question. Why do we have both? And it's, you know, the main difference he says here is that it has a different set of options enabled by default. Notably, create additions is true, which will take like objects. If you have a JSON class key, it will actually go and instantiate that object in Ruby with that name. And that's kind of not safe, you know, because you could pass in like the user model as your JSON class and it would go and try and instantiate that if it implements that like JSON create method. So like parse is kind of a better default to have and whatever, but duplicate keys was another thing. There's no recommendation in the spec of what do you do when you have duplicate keys. Because if you have, like in the example, A is 1 and then A is 2 in the same hash, what is the value of A supposed to be? Like you could do it in order as you read the hash from the JSON and say like, we'll assign it to 1, then we'll override that and assign it to 2. But it's inconsistent and stuff. And so like having that raise an error saying like, hey, your JSON doesn't look valid and we want you to be specific to this or like be aware of this as it's happening is good. And there's some other stuff of like to JSON and to string and times and other things that he talks about in here as well. So it sounds like it's going to get some bigger changes, but it will be for the better. So it's a little bit more strict and a little bit better to understand and all that. Because yeah, JSON is just such a core piece of every web application these days. You need that API to be nice, reliable, simple to understand. No foot guns like that create additions thing. It has been for the longest time. Most of those security issues would come up and be like, well, yeah, your YAML or your JSON or XML or something being parsed would expose some sort of security issue. So that definitely needs some love. And that's probably the main one these days. I don't think many APIs use YAML as a format, just configuration files.
When we were at RailsConf, I thought it was really interesting when Aaron talked about that YAML bug that got introduced, where it was like you could execute code basically that was coming in from YAML.
Yeah. Dude, there's some wild stuff. Brooke enjoyed that talk because, you know, the crap data stuff. She, I don't think, had seen that keynote in the past. There's like the cat goes in this data litter box and then jumps out.
Got a new project for you when you got home. I need some crap data.
Yeah. It's been kind of a slow week when I didn't have internet. I've been like working on the 1 month Rails and 1 month Ruby courses that we're going to put out for the new version of the site. I took the app that we built for Learn Hotwire and kind of transformed it into just a course platform thing with multiple courses and we're going to shut down the Heroku instance and the AWS bucket and whatever that they had, save some money from that, and then like just relaunch the site, but try not to lose too many of the pages that are already there. So I kind of went and scraped a lot of the URLs and was like, we have these old courses. I'm going to like keep 1 month WordPress as a page that you can go visit. We're not really going to have a 1 month WordPress course. And I don't know, maybe we will in the future, but like we just have now a landing page where you can put your email address in and say like, hey, when this course launches, let me know. So we'll collect some emails for those courses, but ready to ship that because I spent a bunch of money to acquire that and just letting it sit and accrue more expenses every month. And like one day ago, Heroku was like, here's your monthly bill. And I was like, oh yeah, for that app that nobody uses, that's not ideal. And then this morning we were looking at a Hatchbox customer using a Hetzner, and I was looking at their pricing again. The like crazy prices Hetzner has, like DigitalOcean for $50 a month for like the premium Intel CPU was like 8 gigs of RAM and 2 CPUs. And then Hetzner was like 32 gigs of RAM and like, I don't know, 8 CPUs, I think it was. And I was like, for $50, the same price, like that's wild. And then if you are willing to go like their dedicated server route, which probably carries some more risk with it, that like if your hardware craps out, like your hard drive or something, like they can't just move you to another host like with a VPS. But the price of that was also like over double the VPS price. So you got like the value of that was over double. It's like 64 gigs of RAM, 13500 Intel CPU, and I forget what the disk storage and stuff was, but it was like for the same price, you're also getting like over double the performance of the VPS version. And I was like, good Lord. It's crazy to see. And like DHH has been posting all those about the framework desktop and the B-Link little mini computers and all that, and just how powerful they are. Like it's wild how awesome computers are these days. It's cool. It's one of those things where like Heroku kind of got bad rap for like, your dynos are still the same dynos and performance as they were for like the past 15 years. And it's like, when are we going to get the modern hardware and stuff? It feels like DigitalOcean's in the same kind of boat where it's like, they're a public company now. They probably just have to buy so much hardware and stuff at the data center. And it's like, they're just kind of locked in at a volume scale or something and can't keep up on pricing or whatever. But I don't know. Hetzner seems like the place we will. They got a couple US data centers now. So like,
oh, they do?
They have 2, one in Oregon and one in Virginia, I think. So
okay, nice.
They're possibly where I'll deploy the new 1 month site to just try them out. Because all of our stuff's been on DigitalOcean just because we've been with them for so long. And I had so many referral credits and stuff. But this $50 a month dedicated server is freaking sweet for a bunch of side projects or something. That'd be a powerhouse for that. The only thing I might not do that is what happens if hardware goes down. That is not as easy to just move that to another host with their VPS setup. So
yeah, I've been
take
looking at them too. We're on Heroku at Podia, and I'm like, if we ever get off Heroku, like where are we going? It seems like Hetzner is just really the optimum choice right now.
Are you guys going to have, because you use like judo scale and auto scaling stuff, right?
Yeah.
How would you do that on Hetzner with VPSs?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I think that's one of those like questions that's, it's like, why haven't we switched away from Heroku? Well, that's one of those great questions right there, other than just the engineering lift and we just, we want to push out features.
Yeah, I think the trouble still is like you need sort of a managed container platform if you want auto scaling. So that's probably one of the tougher moves to make. But it's like render may have slightly lower costs or something, but it's like not a big enough change, or improvement to like be worth the change. So like it makes total sense that you would stay on Heroku or whatever. But
yeah, I mean, Heroku just works. You have to pay a lot for it, but at the end of the day, like we don't have to have a DevOps guy because we can just push to Heroku.
Yep, and you probably have more downtime or whatever too, or I don't know. There's been a few of those hiccups with Heroku lately, but they haven't been communicative of what's going on, which is really the worst part about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a big selling point. And I don't know if they're ever going to, they've been talking about all the next gen Heroku stuff for a while, but the router 2.0 stuff seemed like quite a mess. Did you guys get affected by that? The keep alive changes?
Jamie, I think we talked about this a few weeks. Jamie had turned that off like in anticipation of that going live. Yeah, so we weren't affected because he was on top of it.
That's right. Yeah, because it's stuff like that where you're like, well, next gen stuff appears to be coming, but slowly and a little clunky. And I don't know. It is what it is. Luckily for me, it's like we have one server with a whole bunch of apps on it. And it's like, hell, if we went to one of those Hetzner servers, I would have way more power for the same price and we could run even more apps. Because it's like the 1 month site, it's using Postgres because the default for Jumpstart Pro is Postgres because we want it to easily run on Render or Heroku or whatever out of the box. So we have Postgres as the default, but like it's easy enough to just switch it to SQLite, which is probably what we're going to do because all our 1 month site needs to keep track of. It's kind of like GoRails where it's like we have course records, we have lessons, we have completions, and users and their purchases. And like, that's not a lot of data. There's not a lot of anything in there. Our lessons are just an ID of a video, whatever hosting provider we're using, and voila, we're done. And so I think that'll end up being just a simple SQLite app in production. Like I don't even need to run Postgres or whatever. And like, maybe we do keep it on Postgres just to have remote access to the database or point in time recovery or something, which is something I've really wanted to check out too. I don't have any apps that need it really, but Planet Scale Postgres is awesome. The amount of work they probably put into also doing that because MySQL and Postgres operate, they seem similar as users, but like same thing under the hood? No, not at all. They're very different. So I was really impressed to see that they had done all that work for supporting Postgres, but they also have like their hosted version on AWS, but you can also run it on Metal, like bare metal, and it is ripping fast. It sounded like.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I went by their booth to talk to Mike and I was like, they sold me. I was like, damn, it's that much faster. And then Andy Atkinson went and did all like the research on like their numbers. He's like, no, this is real. Like they're not BSing. Like these are good statistics like on these analytics. I'm like, well, crap. Like if it's that much faster and it's cheaper, it's like, what's the problem here?
Yeah, that is awesome. I love to see that. And it's cool to see that like was a bunch of ex-GitHubbers that went and made that company. It's like they had very, very good expertise coming from GitHub and then to go turn it into a product that anybody can use and scale up their MySQL or Postgres now. I saw Mike and I followed him for years and years on Twitter, but didn't get a chance to talk to him in person. So next conference they sponsor, hopefully I will get to see him. But yeah, bunch of good, smart people there.
For sure.
Well, sir, I'm ready to catch up on work.
Yeah.
Because, it's weird when you don't have internet. You have to like read a book. It's like write a book, read a book. You got to have candles.
Yeah. You got to have a can opener.
Yeah. You got to chop wood. It just feels like we're in the dark ages. Like I got to go get my horse, my buggy, and go pick up Jackson. Like,
yeah, I can't charge my Tesla, so I guess we're not going anywhere.
Yep, sorry, son.
Yeah, I got like 8 days or 9 days left until I'm on sabbatical, so I'm in like crunch time on some
Ooh,
projects.
yeah. I forgot about that. That's sick. I mean, probably right now feels stressful, but 9 days, no worries.
Yep.
Be done.
Yep.
You just disappear. This is your Ryan Bates moment.
Dude, I've considered it, dude. It's like, what if I just don't come back? Just sail off into the wilderness,
I like it.
Chop my wood and light my candles.
Read and write your book.
Yeah, my memoir. All right, my friend.
All right, dude. Well, we'll catch you next week. Make sure you get that ticket booked.
Will do. Peace.
All right. Peace.